Hey folks, how you doing? Glad to be with you. Uh, I'm going to talk about what I call living history. History alive today. Okay. Uh, we find this history in folks such as the hunters and gatherers. Okay. These people live like their ancestors lived 500,000, 600,000, maybe 1,000,000 years ago. They do the same thing. They live the same way. Okay. And this also, the way they live their lives, also has to do with the hieroglyphic system. Okay, what they call some folks call the divine word, the word of God, etc. It started with these ancient folks, our ancestors. The sounds they made later became divine words. That's how they interpreted. Okay, well, the meaning of these words as divine words. Okay. So the hieroglyphs, okay, an example. Yeah. Example of the hieroglyphic writings. They got their start with the earliest humans. The sounds the earliest humans made, which were animal sounds for the most part, because the earliest humans didn't have a verbal language. They mimicked, they copied animal sounds. And not only just the sounds they made, but other things which they did also. They learned from animals a good bit of what they did. Okay. So when it comes to animal sounds, well, they wanted to attract animals. Okay. When they went hunting, they would make sounds that the animals made so that the animals wouldn't run from them. Animals might even approach them, okay, out of curiosity, okay. So folks do this today, they make animal sounds and they go hunting and so forth and so on, just like their ancestors did, and it helps them with a successful hunt, okay. Well, eventually these words, the sounds, made their way into hieroglyphic writings. Oh, it took hundreds of thousands of years for all that to unfold, but nevertheless it occurred, okay? And so because these folks lived the same way as the ancestors did, that is the hunters and gatherers of today, okay, I refer to them as a living history, which they are, you know what I mean? So if a person wants to find out how the ancestors lived 500,000 years ago, then you go and study those folks and how they are living today, you know, if their culture hasn't been corrupted yet by foreigners, okay, coming in, issuing advice and whatnot, how they should live. They're doing fine, okay. And so these folks performed rituals hundreds of thousands of years ago as they do today, okay? And we see that a major sign, and one often seen in the hieroglyphs, hieroglyphic drawings and whatnot, is a circle with a dot in the center, okay? And sometimes you'll see a serpent, okay? engulfing the circle, which has to do something with eternity, the serpent, because the serpents were viewed as or symbolized eternity, because they shed their skin over and over again, shedding their skin. Like they sort of symbol, it made this a symbol of repeated life, okay? And so here we have this repeated life, then, okay, is equivalent to eternity, okay? So now, the dot in the center of the circle, okay, getting back to that, well, the circle had to do with a ritual performed by the hunters before they went off on a hunting expedition. They would form a circle, and they would dance around the circle, okay? But in the center of the circle, there was a person, let's say, on his knees, hands and knees, all fours, crawling around like he was in an animal, okay? So this has to do something with capturing prey, okay? Because the fellow in the center represents an animal, a prey, that is under attack and about to be captured or killed because he's surrounded by the circle. You see, they do this dance today. Hunters and gatherers do the same thing today, or some of them, with this very dance, okay? And when they finish dancing, they fall off in a line and go on out into the forest and do their hunting. You see. So now we see this circle with a dot in the center in the hieroglyphs. Sometimes the people say, well, this is a sign of the sun god Ra. Okay, maybe. But we're talking about its origin. Where did it come from in the first place? Okay, and that is what I just described, where it came from, you see. But these rituals, you know, practiced right there in Central Africa, talking about the Congo, Tanzania, Kenya, Ethiopia, etc., found their way to the lower Nile Valley after thousands and thousands of years of migrations. Because the people, when they migrated, they took their rituals, everything with them. Okay? And when they got to the lower Nile Valley, and when that region was really established into a civilization, the priests would take, listen to their rituals, see their rituals, and they would record their rituals, and this is where the mythology came from. The written mythology, the composed mythology, which was composed by the Kimite priests. They would take it from these waves of migrants who came in from different parts of Africa. Actually listen to them, understand their culture, understand their rituals, and they took these rituals, etc., and the sounds associated with them and composed them into the mythology. Okay, so we have the Kimite mythology. This is how it was derived, composed by the priests of ancient Egyptian. Okay, so we can see where that symbol came from. Okay, and people still do it today. This is why, you know, we can refer to it as living history. Those people are actually living the history. They're living what their ancestors did 500,000-600,000 years ago, you know. And so we see that that the sounds, okay, that the folks made 500, 1 million years ago are still made in rituals. And those sounds, those phonetics, are found in the hieroglyphic writings that I just showed you. So they have what they call phonetic symbols, sound symbols, in the hieroglyphic writings. Where they come from, where they came from their ancestors. People made those sounds millions of years ago because they didn't have a verbal language. They made animal sounds. That was probably their first and major form of communication. Probably no doubt about that. The animal sounds. And these animal sounds later became what they call divine words. Now, the divine words, divine writings are the hieroglyphic writings today. They call them the Medu Neter, the divine word. Medu means word, Neter means divine. So the Medu Neter, divine word. It came from way back there, you see. And those hunters and gatherers today, the living history, they still make those animal sounds. Okay, so yeah, that's a little on the living history, you know, and the hieroglyphic writings, a connection between the two, the ancient history and the hieroglyphic writings. Okay, and studying the hieroglyphic writings will give people, okay, an idea of the most ancient past, because that's where they came from, at least the vast majority of them. Okay. Okay, folks, I'll get back with you, and have a good day, and take care. Bye.